I was found across from the Overby Transportation Center, bundled up in a bunch of sheets and makeshift blankets and cardboard. I am a man of God, and he showed up that night. He showed up in the light and image of Captain Nancy and her driver, and I know that.
Three years ago, our real estate broker took us to a property in the West Humboldt Park community, and we were looking for a new site for the Salvation Army's Freedom Center. It was a perfect opportunity for us. We saw need in the community, as well as a site that needed development.
Well, the Freedom Center project is actually a continuation of what we've been doing here in Greater Chicago for the last 35 years. It's a very neighborhood-based facility where we have a variety of programs and opportunities for virtually every age. Among these are going to be our Harbor Light Center, our Pathway Forward program, our Core Community Center, which is going to be serving the greater neighborhoods surrounding the facility and campus itself, as well as our mobile feeding program.
The Core Community Center will offer a lot of programming for parents, for mothers, for fathers, for children, and we're really looking forward to things like the Computer Center, to after-school programs. We are coming to be part of the community and to just join together.
This center is like a breath of fresh air. Young people pretty much learn what they see, so it's good for them to see kind, caring, good people being the leaders in the neighborhood.
Freedom Center is something very, very spiritual, and it's close to everyone. I had developed as an addict and an alcoholic, then the best thing to do that is to be spiritual, connect with God, and be a person of service to your fellow man. And I chose. When those people come out of that program and come out of that building, they're experiencing for the first time in their life a change, a spiritual change, which says that today I am free.
Harbor Light is really a staircase. We are out on the streets working with the homeless, so we're an ongoing program that takes you from the street through substance abuse. We have a jobs program to help with the employment angle until you're ready to go into independent living, and then we still want to be your friend.
They worked to get somebody's life together. That life impacts somebody else's life, so that a family can be together and so that a community can be brought together. That's serving the people.
When I met Henry that night, he hadn't had a haircut or a shave in, at least 2 or 3 years. He was not talking clearly. He had difficulty walking. In fact, we had to each hold an arm to get him into our van. And watching him transform just brought about this wonderful character that's in there. And he has gone from probably going to die that night on just under a sheet to can't wait to help other people through this process.
When he stepped in and saved my life, again, I knew this time that that God was serious. Yes. As time went on in the program, I was given a sense of rejuvenation, a sense of confidence, and I've been given a foundation.
I know that the devil is very angry at me, very angry, because I was a soldier in his army, and I was a good soldier in his army. In 2004, I was released from federal custody, and most times when men and women come home from being incarcerated, there's no accountability, and people have in their mind, now what I'm gonna do now? I'm a convicted felon. Most people's not gonna hire me. So, what should I do now? Should I go back to legal activity? It's a real challenge. And one thing the Salvation Army did through Chaplain Harris would held me accountable.
The Pathway Forward program is for people who have been to prison. They're making their transition having been released, so they come to our facility. In our facility, we have a wide battery of programs to assist them. And so we try to see what services are best for them. And then they come up with a personal plan that they can follow. We work it out with them that can kind of help strengthen them in these areas they need to be strengthened in so that they can make their transition.
The kind of services that Pathway Forward provides enable people to make a gradual and increasingly effective transition back into the community. And most people don't realize that without these kinds of programs, a significant majority of people who come out of prison eventually end up back in prison again.
You won!
Yeah!
Yay!
Michael Hill is just an amazing person. Michael was one who would minister about the need to take these things in the Bible and live them out. And so, see, when somebody who's been through the same experience who tells you that, you can't say to them, you don't know what it's like, you've never been to prison. Because when he testifies about how far down he had gone and how far down God had to reach and bring him up, encourage a lot of people that, hey, well, I guess there's hope for me.
Our young kids, when they don't have nothing to do, they find themselves something to do, and that something to do is trouble. So keeping them focused, keeping their attention to something positive is a great avenue for success. It's a great avenue of keeping our young people out of trouble.
The investment here is in preventing societal harms, strengthening the youth, and keeping them on the right path, a pathway forward.
The impact of the new Salvation Army Freedom Center is just going to be enormous. So in the course of 1 year, our programs at the new Freedom Center will impact roughly 24,000 individuals.
This neighborhood means a lot to me. I made a mistake when I was a teenager. God gave me an opportunity to turn it around, and the people in the neighborhood embraced me and gave me an opportunity to represent them. So it's only fitting that I continue to give other people an opportunity to turn their lives around and embrace them. We cannot continue to allow for folks to be sick and not give them help. And hopefully, this is going to be the turning point for the neighborhood.
There's a sense of hopelessness and despair when people don't have a plan that will often lead them to a self-destructive lifestyle that makes a very negative impact on their own neighborhoods. So the Salvation Army wants to intervene in that cycle of hopelessness.
Both of these programs have been around for 30 or 40 years, and they continue to demonstrate their ability to really change and help people and provide solutions to these problems. That's something to invest in. That's worthwhile.
My life today consists of a beautiful wife and 3 beautiful children. And I would encourage anyone that's coming home from prison to see if they can get to the Salvation Army, because it would change their life. Take your time, Ty. That experience made me the man I am today. It made me the father that I am today. It made me the leader in my community that I am today. So I thank God for that experience.
And Harbor Light and his outstanding staff, they were the people that truly pointed us in the right direction. And
I came to the Harbor Light Center upon a referral after being into detox. And, as soon as I stepped through the door, it was a feeling that I knew that there was going to be a change in my life.
When we have somebody who's involved in substance abuse, the reality is that on a minimum wage job, you're not going to be able to support your addiction for very long. And so as your addiction grows, you're eventually going to move to criminal activities, and that will eventually land you in jail or prison. And the state of Illinois alone, last year, we paid $38,000 per individual to incarcerate each person who's in our prison system. And so when we have somebody who's able to begin having a productive, useful life, not only are we saving society by not having to pay to incarcerate that individual or to deal with their addiction issues, but they also start becoming a part of society and become a productive person within the society that they live in.
Being a father, the best feeling that you will have is when you see your kid and the glimmer in his eye when he's happy with you, you know, and that's how Larry is today, you know, and he'll give me that big hug, you know, and he said, I'm glad I got my father back. Whew. That means the world to me.
There isn't very many places left that show the compassion and genuine concern for another human being. And that's what I always wanted. I give praise to God Almighty for the Salvation Army, who has saved a lot of lives, including mine.